Thank you, Devin. And Labor Day is in the rear view now, but sometimes things stick with us during every season of the year. And for many people, that is high or borderline high cholesterol. And here to talk with us this morning about that is Nurse Christina Paris. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hi, good morning. Glad to be here.
You know, always glad to have you in, especially talking about cholesterol, because we hear it all the time. And honestly, I kind of don't know exactly what it is. It's not my forte, but that's why we have you coming in and, hopefully learn a little something today. So what is cholesterol and who needs to be tested when we're talking about it?
Yeah, so you're not alone. A lot of people don't know. You know, we hear about it. We know it's something that gets tested, but we really don't know what it is. So cholesterol is a fat. It's found in all of the cells of our body. It is used in creating cell membranes, creating hormones and vitamin D, and it helps create bile which digests our food. So it has a lot of purposes, so it's very much needed. The problem is we tend to sometimes get, and there's good and bad, and so we have to watch that we don't have too much of the bad and we have enough of the good. And so there's three types we kind of watch for. So LDL, I think of L as loser, so bad. That's your bad cholesterol, that's low
Easy
density.
Enough to remember.
Yep, and so what cholesterol does is it binds with proteins, so we have what we call lipid proteins. That's what these are, that's what LDL. And then there's HDL. We want that to be good, so that's high. We want that to be, I think, high, good, that's the high density, so that's HDL. And you want that to be around 60. And then there's triglycerides. So triglycerides are a type of fat found in the bloodstream and really are used for energy. And so we want that to be, a decent number. If you have too much of that too, that can be really dangerous as well. And so, and so now who should get tested? Well, we think that, adolescents should get tested at least once. Then when you get into your teens, you should get checked at least once. And as an adult, if you're a healthy adult, you get out, you exercise routinely, you eat a pretty healthy, lean diet with lots of good green leafy vegetables, then you probably could get tested every 3 to 5 years. But if you're someone who lives in the Northwoods, loves to go out for fish fries and cheese curds and brandy old fashions, you probably need to get tested more frequently, like 1 to 2 years. And so they're gonna monitor you a little more closely.
Gotcha. That's good to know there. So is high cholesterol only treated when we're talking about treatments? Is it only treated through medications, or are there other things that we can do to help lower the problematic levels?
Yeah, absolutely. So when they get to be higher, then we do typically go to a medication. So some type of a statin, a atorvastatin, simvastatin. And there's other medications for people who don't tolerate statins. Sometimes statins can cause muscle wasting. It can cause pain with your joints and muscles. But not everyone who takes a statin experiences these side effects. So don't be afraid to at least give it a try. If you're noticing those symptoms, then, have that conversation with your doctor. Let them know there's different types of medications they can try. Also, some will try niacin along with a diet. And so, definitely reducing your saturated fats. So those are gonna be things like butter and fatty cuts of meat. We like a good steak that has a lot of fat on it because they taste the best, but they're not the best for you. And chicken, with the skin on, there's nothing better than a crispy, crunchy outer coating on chicken, but again, not good for you. Pastries, cakes, cookies, ice cream, sour cream, cheese, butter, all the things we do in Wisconsin. Sauces made with butters and creams. We love our cheddar broccoli soup, our thick, hearty soups and stuff, but those can be really high in cholesterol. And so you need to just find ways to reduce that, trying olive oil, canola oil even. I have now started using avocado oil for frying. So if I'm gonna, be out on my Blackstone, I'll use avocado oil instead of canola because it's just a little better for you, and it can tolerate the high heat cooking where olive oil doesn't. So
that's good to know.
There's things you can do. Yeah.
Well, so can you review some cholesterol target numbers? I know we talked a little bit about that earlier, and what do we want to watch out for? What numbers are we going to be like, ooh, maybe we don't want that?
Right. So, there's a couple of things. So, one, we have learned that the LDL, so the bad cholesterol, actually comes in two types. There's large, buoyant LDL, pattern A, and then there's a small, dense LDL, pattern B. So the small LDL are the ones, dense, think of them as, packing a power punch so they can sort of go into the walls of your arteries. Those are the ones that start to accumulate and build up. We don't test to differentiate between the LDLs, we just say LDL. But you really could break it down even further and ask your provider to see which type of LDL is high. So, okay, going back to the numbers, sorry, I know we had them up there. Total cholesterol, we want less than 200. LDL, we want it less than 130, ideally 100 to 129. HDL, you want around 60. Actually, too much HDL, which is the good cholesterol, because HDL takes the bad cholesterol back to the liver so it can be processed. So that's why we want more of that. But too much of anything, is bad. So we have to watch that as well.
Well, thanks so much for walking us through cholesterol. There's a lot to keep in mind when you're looking at it. But hopefully this was just a little bit more digestible.
Yes, I like it.
There we go. All right, well, thanks again for coming on in this morning.
Absolutely.
Okay, after the break, we're going to have a look at Birthday Club and Chase on the Lake, hopefully. Stay with us. We'll be right back.